Alright, what's up everybody? Brian here, and this is my Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2018, hashtag Slam16, because this was the 16-year anniversary for Impact Wrestling. They presented Slammiversary tonight in Toronto, and I have to say, between Extreme Rules from WWE last weekend and Impact Wrestling having Slammiversary this weekend, Slammiversary I think was way better than Extreme Rules last weekend. So let's get right into it. I'm just going to make a quick review what I thought about the matches. We started off with a four-way match in which it was Johnny Impact, Bone Soldier, Taiji Ishimori, Phoenix, and Petey Williams, who took the place of Rich Swann, who, as I mentioned in my predictions, was out with an injury. He was pulled from tonight's event. This matchup was an amazing, incredible opening match for Slammiversary tonight that saw Johnny Impact walk out with the victory as he would pin Phoenix in this match after hitting Starship Pain. So a big victory for Johnny Impact, who was returning from injury. So big victory for Johnny Impact, but hats off to all four guys because they delivered some incredible moves in this matchup. The second match was Tessa Blanchard taking on Allie. This one I actually thought was going to be bad. I know when I did my predictions, I did see a lot of people on different websites saying that, oh, this match is going to be terrible, this is not going to be a good match. This was actually a very good matchup, in my opinion. Allie and Tessa Blanchard really brought their A games. One of the spots in this match that looked really scary was Tessa had Allie on the top rope. She went to deliver a Hurricane Rana, looked like, and when she delivered it, she basically planted like Allie head first into the mat, and I was surprised that Allie kicked out of that move. But in the end, it was Tessa Blanchard who walked out victorious, defeating Allie with the Hammerlock DDT. After countering what looked to be a Alley Valley driver, the Death Valley driver attempt by Allie, but Tessa countered that into the Hammerlock DDT and thus walked out victorious. We had a House of Hardcore Rules match. That was the third match of the night between Eddie Edwards and Tommy Dreamer. This one was very what you would expect from a hardcore match. A lot of weapons. There was blood in this matchup. This was not the only match that had blood, but this was one of the three matches that had blood in it that made it look like a hardcore match. Eddie picked up the win with the Boston Knee Party, just to go quickly with these results. And then afterwards, in what looked to be a passing of the torch, Tommy Dreamer would not only shake the hand of Eddie Edwards, but then he would pass the kendo stick and give it to Eddie Edwards as a sign of looking like passing the torch, or passing on the lineage of hardcore, stuff like that. So hopefully this ends this feud, so both Eddie Edwards could move on to something else. We did see a title change, and I know I mentioned in my predictions that I thought that Brian Cage would walk out the new X Division champion, which he did when he defeated Matt Sidell in a A solid match. Nothing bad about this matchup. Near the end, Matt Sidell looked like he was going to retain the championship with the shooting star press, but his feet clipped the ropes on the way down when he landed, and it looked like Cage had got his foot up, and I don't know if Sidell made contact with Cage's foot, or he landed face first onto the mat, but what is it? I think it's a drill claw later. We have a new X Division champion in the Machine, Brian Cage, and that was pretty much it for that. Also, congratulations go out to Brian Cage on becoming X Division champion. It'll be interesting to see what he does with that X Division championship and how they make him, what kind of champion they make him going into the future. The second title that was on the line for the Knockouts Championship, Su Yung retained over Madison Rayne in a match that was decent, nothing bad. It was okay. Madison, she, tried everything she could think of. She hit every move she could think of on Su Yung, but it was not enough as Su Yung with that mandible claw, with that glove that she puts on her hand to add a little bit of more more damage into that move. With that move, Su Yung retained her Knockouts Championship over Madison Rayne. So that was another match that happened tonight. We had a 51-50 street fight for the Impact World Tag Team titles. I did not think the titles were on the line in this matchup, but from the card I read when I made my predictions, it said non-title, but then they announced that it was for the tag titles. It was the OGs, Homicide and Hernandez, with King in their corner, taking on LAX, Santana and Ortiz, who had Conan in their corner. And this one was physical from the opening bell. I mean, you had weapons brought into play. You had a chain. You had tables. You had garbage can lids. You had everything you could think of. Thumbtacks were even brought into play by Conan near the end of the match. And basically Conan threw a bag to one of the members of LAX. And while Homicide was distracted, when Homicide turned around, the member of LAX dumped the bag out and then grabbed some of the thumbtacks and threw it into the face of Homicide, picked him up, body slammed him onto the tacks, and then hit a frog splash from the top rope. Sorry, guys. And that is what helped LAX defeat the OGs to retain their tag team championships. After the match, though, King would attack with a slapjack or something like that, and then they would hold Conan. Homicide and Hernandez would hold Conan, and King would hit him in the back with the slapjack, and then would spray paint OG on the tag team championships, and then they took the belts. Even though they didn't win the match and they didn't win the titles, they took the belts anyway. And so, obviously, this war between LAX and the OGs is far from over, but LAX won tonight at Slammiversary and retained their tag team championships. Pentagon Jr. took on Sami Callihan in a hair versus mask match. This was another match. This was the third match that OGs and LAX match had blood in it, and you want to talk about one of the most physical and violent matches that you will ever see. Sami Callihan and Pentagon Jr. in this hair versus mask match was that. There was blood. I mean, Sami Callihan introduced like railroad spikes into the match, and basically he ripped the mask of Pentagon. He would then use the railroad spikes and jabbed him into the forehead of Pentagon. Pentagon started bleeding. Pentagon would then return the favor and basically took the spikes and used them on Sami, busting him open. You had David and Jake Christ getting involved to try to help, trying to help Sami Callihan to win this matchup, but it was not to be, as Pentagon, after breaking the arm of Sami Callihan, would hit the package pile driver and thus defeat Sami Callihan, and then with a little help from Phoenix, would shave the head of Sami Callihan after this matchup. So that was pretty much it for that. Another note about this matchup, this poor referee, they had refereeing this match. Sami Callihan blinded Pentagon with powder or salt or whatever it was, and so Pentagon couldn't see what he was doing, who it was that was there, until afterwards he would grab the referee, throw him down, and then break the referee's arm to the point where they had to send another referee out to finish the matchup and finish refereeing the match. So that was a pretty funny moment in that matchup. And that, of course, brings us to the World Championship match, which was Austin Aries versus Moose. Austin Aries was defending champion, and he is still the reigning Impact World Champion, as he retained over Moose in a very hard-fought match. There were a couple of points during this match that I thought Moose was going to win, but Austin Aries proving once again why he is cunning as world champion, hitting the brainbuster. He hit a brainbuster on the arena floor that he tried to win the match with that way, but that was not enough to keep Moose down. But then he would hit a brainbuster in the ring on Moose and thus retained his world championship. So a big victory for Austin Aries, but a very hard-fought effort by Moose. So with that being said, my thoughts on Slammiversary tonight is that I think this is a show that people should check out to judge for themselves. I thought it was an incredible event. Every match was great. Every matchup on this card was great. So with that being said, if you guys watched Slammiversary tonight, let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. I thought it was a great event. I really enjoyed it. A lot of the matches were just unbelievable. So with that being said, it will be interesting to see what happens as far as the fallout this Thursday night on Impact Wrestling. So with that being said, this has been my review result recap of what happened at Slammiversary 2018, #Slam16 for Impact Wrestling. So as always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.